Okay guys, welcome to another episode of the Blender beginner tutorial series. And in this tutorial we are going to look at something very different, a very different section in the 3D world. We are looking at animation. So what is animation? Animation is making an object move or change shape over time. Objects can be animated in so many ways. But before that guys, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel and make sure you don't miss any future uploads, and leave a like, and any questions that you have regarding the animations or anything you don't understand in the 3D Blender world, just post it in the comment section. Okay, so with animation you can change positions, orientation or size in time, and you can animate vertices of an object or control the points. We spoke about vertices and faces and edges earlier in the previous tutorials. And we've not talked about parenting, but you can, causing the object to move based on the movement of another object. Like you parent it, or you will talk about rigging, but not in this particular tutorial. So animations, let's see the few things you need for the animation. We have this timeline. So this is where the magic will happen. This is how you can control your animations. And animation works with keyframes. It's typically achieved with keyframes. Let me press N to bring my side panel and you see. So this is our timeline. And for timeline, this is where your keyframes will show, so that you know where it is. Let me delete this camera and light. X to delete. Okay, so we have cube here, and I told you when you press 1 you can go to the front orthographic view. So let's work here so that we'll see and understand things better. Let me enable my gizmo keys, the move gizmo, so that you can see. So this is our animation. We are coming to start our first animation. Like I said, we have keyframes. Animation is just inserting keyframes. We can decide to make this object here. We can scale it and scale it down by adding keyframes, and we will have a scale animation. When it comes to animation, when you press I on your keyboard, we have insert keyframe menu. We have animation for location, rotation, scale, location and rotation, as the list goes on. So we'll look at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll look at these particular ones first, and as you go forward you understand more. So let's say, let me put this cube here. Okay, let me leave it here and scale it a bit. Okay, so now watch here. When I press I and watch the timeline, in the timeline we have 200 up to 250 frames. We have end here. We can increase the ending value. Like when we go forward you can increase it, but let's leave it here for now. And our playhead is at frame 1. In animation we use frames per second. See, it's like an image. If you stack more images within some particular time, it gives you a video. That's the whole idea of video. It's just frames per second. When I come to the output properties, you see we have frame rate. So we are now working with frame rate. Sorry about this. We are now working with frame rate 24 frames per second. And the end, start and end is also here. So we can just increase it just like you can increase it here. And the frame is currently at frame 1. If we bring it to frame 30, you see we have frame 30. Okay. But still it will start at frame 1 since we have it on frame 1. But let's put it back at frame 1 and see. So the size is like this. When I press I on the keyboard and I say insert a scale animation, you see insert keyframes for specified key insert with menu, and the set defined is scale. So when I press scale, you see we have a keyframe here. We have this keyframe, and adding many of these ones will make an object move or make an animation happen. So we have a keyframe here, and like I told you, we have these keyframes. So when I come to maybe frame, frame 20, when I say frame 20 and I reduce the scale down, watch what happens here. You see the color change. Okay, and I'll just hit, I scale it to this place. Let me scale it down a bit more, and I scale it down like this, and I press I again, and in scale, another scale rotation. So you see we have 2 keyframes here now. So when I come here and I just hit the space bar on my keyboard and play, you see we have a scale animation like this. So let me just, you see it's too long, so just play until it reaches here. So let me just decrease this time and make it at least 50. Okay, let me leave it at 50 frames, so it will end at 50. So when I play back again, it will start at, or you can hit here to go to the first frame and just play here. So when I play, you see it will start again. So this is animation. We started with scale animation. So let's do movement. To delete a keyframe, you can select a keyframe and press X to delete keyframe, or you can clean keyframes, but let's delete it first. Or you can select everything and just hit delete and delete keyframes, or I can right click and clear keyframes, but let me delete it one by. Let me select everything, hit X and delete the keyframes. Okay, so now it's gone. So now we don't have any animation. Let me bring back our box here. Let me put it here and start at frame 1 again. So with this one, I will do a location keyframe. So mind you, it's on the X axis. So I'll hit I. Location. Since we are doing location keyframes, the location keyframe, this place changed to yellow, meaning it have an animation recorded there. But when I move this, you see only on the X axis it changes to color orange. You see, so let me bring it here. And if I bring it here and I insert another keyframe, I and location, you see nothing happened because we didn't move the playhead. So when you play, nothing happened. It's just like it's here. So let me just snap it back again and let's do it again. So I intentionally did that mistake. I'll insert I and insert a location keyframe here, and you have to move the playhead to a particular place that you want, a particular time that you want the animation to reach. Let's say I want 40 frames, so I'll just bring this object here whilst I brought this to 40 frames, and I'll press I and insert a location keyframe, and you see it's updated the keyframe. So now if I go back, if I press this previous button to go back and I play, you see we have a location keyframe. It's moving from here to here. You see it's moving from here to here. If I bring it back again and I play, so that is it. I can put in the middle 20 seconds. I can bring this on the Z axis. You see only the Z is moving. I can just bring it up like this and insert another location keyframe. Let's say location. So it's registered this location. Now it will be something like this. It will come and bounce and come here. So let me just play. You see it moves up and come down. Let me go back and play again. It moves up and come down. Let me bring this to the end of the frame so that it will just, and you see since everything is selected, when I was moving, all the keyframes were moving. So mind you there, I'll just bring it back, and you can put the playhead here on the first keyframe and scale. You see it will scale and use the first keyframe as a pivot point. So it's scaling to that, from that pivot point. So I'll just bring it here, and you see, so if I play like this, it will come and start again. You see, so we can also add a rotation keyframe. When I bring it here, you see we started with only location, so rotation and scale has no values here. But on the first keyframe, I can add I again and rotation. You see now rotation is registered, but nothing is happening here. So I can just bring it here to the last 50 keyframe, and the rotation I can just R and Y, or let me just stop there and just rotate on only the Y axis. So you see, if I rotate like this, let's say let me type, you can make calculations in Blender, so let me type 2 and star or times 2 times 360. You see, when I hit enter, it gave me 720. So now it will rotate twice before it reaches. Let's try and see. And it didn't work because I didn't add the keyframe from the start. That's the mistake. So let's do it again. I'll add the keyframe here. You can put the mouse here and press I. It will insert a keyframe here, but it already has a keyframe, rotation keyframe here. So I'll just, let me do it again. Rotation keyframe. Bring the thing back here and rotate it 720. Hit enter and insert. And because I've not inserted the keyframe, that's why it's orange. So remember this. So if I press I, you see it automatically went to yellow or this greenish color, just like this one. So now it's registered. So if you go back and play again, you see it's moving twice a revolution. You see, when I start from frame 1 and I press, we can do the same thing for the scale. You should try this one yourself, but I'm doing it. But pause the video and try this for yourself. So I'll just hit I for scale. You see now scale has a rotation, an animation. Scale has an animation property now. I'll just bring it here. Let me say the end frame, and I'll just scale it very big. Okay. And I told you earlier, you don't have keyframes here. That's why it is orange. But then immediately we add keyframe I and scale to change to this color. So I and scale, you see it changed. So now it will scale from small size to big size, and it will rotate at the same time. So first it will move and rotate and scale at the same time. So let's go back and see. You press, you see it's rotating, and voila, we have our animation. You see, when it comes to objects that we use for animations, not object but layout, we can add another layout. Let me just minimize this one. This is the timeline, remember. Let me just add another one by dragging this place and choose this one. We have drivers. Let me choose drivers. With these drivers, no, let's not use drivers. Let's use graph editor. Sorry, it's the graph that I was looking for. We'll talk about drivers later. So we have this graph editor to also help us, and we have another one. Let me bring this down and make another layout. And we have the, where is dope sheet? Okay, we have the dope sheets. So you see the keyframe is just one here, but it's 4 over here. You can just push this one in, and you see it's just the cube that we have, but it's just having some extra information. That's why it became 4. So you just push it in, and it's just one keyframe. And this is the summary of all the keyframes that will be here if we had done another animations on a particular and a different object. So we have the timeline to help us. We have the graph editor, and we have the dope sheet. So with the graph editor, it's more like you can have control over the interpolation. And when I say interpolation, you see the x-axis. So we animated this and added a rotation, a location on the upper side. So like if I play, sorry about this, the way I'm explaining things, but maybe if I demonstrate you understand more. So like if I play, you see it's playing and it's climbing. If I bring this one down and select just the scale, you see the scale climb up, but let me use the location. Now the location, remember that we started from this the first place and we came here before we added the upper part, you see. So now it climbs, it's climbing on the x axis. Guys, sorry about how I'm explaining this, but it takes practicality, so just understand me as you go, bear with me. And let's say if I use the y location, I don't have any y location because I didn't animate on the y location. Let's check z. When we came to the middle, we animated the z axis. That's why we have this z flat here, but when it reaches here, it comes up and it's flat down here. So that's the z location. And let's look at the rotation. We don't have rotation on the x axis. And let's check the s scale. We scaled, I think, on all the sizes. So you see it's almost the same line. If I shift select everything, you see everything is on the same line. So that's a brief explanation I can give to the graph editor. But as time goes on, trust me, you understand it better with practical examples, just like we are going. So I'll just bring this one and we will look at the dope sheet. So the dope sheet tool is just like it helps you to analyze your animations very well. If we had so many animations here, all will be registered here and it will be summarized here. You see, when I click summary, this is all the animations that we have. So as we go on to, I was just drawing your mind on some tools that will help us with the animation. I'll just close them again. And let's work with the timeline. Let me press 1 again, delete this cube, and you see all the keyframes will go. You see there's nothing in the scene. Let me add shift A to add another cube and bring it here. You see we have this thing here. If you put our mouse on it, to say auto keying, automatic keyframe insertion for object. So I'll just put the timeline here. If I press automatic key insertion and I bring the timeline here, let me say I want to start my animation here. You see it's added a keyframe automatically. I didn't press any I. It's added it to both location, rotation and scale. It's the same as if I press I and I choose location, rotation and scale. So that's how the auto keyframe works. So I can just bring my timeline, my playhead here. Let me bring it here and just drag this here. You see it's added another keyframe. And since this is on, now we have our animation. You see, but it's like the animation starts fast and go linear and slows down a little. So that's the interpolation. I can press key in, not key in, this key in, or the shortcut is key, is T, sorry. If I press T, you see we have the interpolation. T, sorry, we have the interpolation here. So we have constant, we have linear, we have Bezier. Right now it's using Bezier, that's why the curves were climbing and up. But if you choose linear, you see it will go at a constant speed. You see how it did. It goes at constant speed. And we can press T again and try with constant. And let's see how constant to behave. And pump. You see, it's just static and it will just drag. Okay, let me increase the timeline so that you see it better from here, and nothing will happen, and you see it just moves. That's how the constant is. So it depends on your situation and how you want your interpolation to be. So I'll just put mine back at linear and just play and see. You play and it's going at constant speed. So that is the interpolation for you. Let me check again what we can do again here. So if I select this object, like I said, when I press I, you get all the insert keyframe menu and you can choose any of this. This is what we look. And let me delete this again and add another object. Shift A, add some, let me say add a cylinder here. So the cylinder, let me put it here. And you see we have, I forgot to turn off my auto insert keyframe. So next time, just watch it. Just click it off and let me delete this keyframe. I don't want it. I'll insert it manually. So all the time check it, because you might bring in another camera. You can position your camera, position your light, and it will register and you might not understand what's going on. So always make sure you know what you are doing. So with this cylinder here, I'll press I for location, rotation, and scale here. But I didn't want it here. I want it to start at frame 1. So I can just drag this here and leave this one here, bring this and scale it on the Z axis. So S, Z, and just scale it like this, and press I again and insert location, rotation, and scale. So you see this one, it's inserted 3 keyframes, which only one that we needed. We only needed the Z axis. So let's play and see. So it moves from here, and as it's moving, it's scaling. So what about you want it to move before it scales? So let me delete this keyframe, X to delete a keyframe. So let me move it before I scale it. So I'll bring it here and bring my cylinder here, I for location, and come here again and press I again, press I again for scale. You see, and move forward to wherever you want the thing to scale, maybe just a frame, and I just press S, Z, and increase it, and just press I for scale. So now we have 3 keyframes here. Let's play and see what will happen. You see, it's at constant size until it comes here and bam, it just increases the size. So that's how you add different keyframes and different object manipulations. So if I should recap again, let me delete these ones, and I have only this one here. So I want it to scale, to move here before it scales. So I'll just bring this one here, press I to insert only location. Where's location? Only location. And I'll move just 1 frame and hit I again for scale, and move another frame and scale it S, Z, and add I another keyframe for scale. So you see, this keyframe is just holding this small size, and after here I insert another keyframe which will hold the big size that is incoming. So that's how it works now. I'm sure you understand. Keep practicing and you understand it more. I think I'll end the tutorial here. It's already getting longer, and we'll look at how best we can animate more objects, and our 3D journey will be very, very fun. So just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. And guys, if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel and just like the video for me. Share it to your friends so that they can also learn the Blender song. This is HBT Digital, and I'm out.